Welcome you all for this today's auspicious event. And before we start, we will pray our offer our prayer to the Mother. May I request the bands to kindly play the music. So we'll just meditate and offer to our prayers to the Mother. Then we'll start.
'श्री जगन्नाथो मदगुरुः श्री जगद्गुरुः परात्मा सर्वभूतात्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। गुरुरादिनादिश्च गुरुः परमदैवतं गुरोः परतरं नास्ति तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः।
14th August is basically a special event in the Indian history, not only in the history of India, but also I should say in the history of the world, because it was on 14th August 1947, it was Maharishi Aurobindo who gave a message to the people of the, I can say, the people of the world. In his 5 dreams, he mentioned how the evolution of human consciousness can be established on human earth, and how human being will be able to realize what is the real purpose of life. And we are very much happy to invite you all of you for this today's event. It is just like you can say a squirrel's effort to achieve something bigger, something to realize the divinity within us. So today is basically we are going to release one portal, basically a digital portal with an objective for the promotion of children's literature in multiple languages. Before we proceed, I would like to introduce, we have our esteemed Shri Pradeep Narang, Chairman, Shri Aurobindo Society, for sparing his valuable time and your kind support and guidance. We have an eminent scholar, Dr. Rodger from Netherlands. He is basically a Padma Shri awardee from the Government of India for his outstanding contribution in Indology, Sanskrit, and many other areas. I welcome you, sir, for this today's initiative. We have Sri Bhupati Swami, the former Deputy Director from Government of Puducherry, and currently the member of the General Council of the Central National Academy of Letters, Ministry of Culture. We invited him many times, and the support we got from the local government and the scholars from the Tamil community, this is really enriching. And we have Dr. Sundar Murugan. Whenever I find in forum to introduce him, I just introduce him as my elder brother actually. When I was with the government, he was the General Council member. We had a very good experience for the last 5 years when I was with looking at the awards. I welcome you, sir, for this today's initiative. And we have also 2 more. We have Gayatri Majumdarji, our elder sister and our colleague from Shri Aurobindo Society. She is one of the speakers today. And we have Madhusudhan Mahapatraji. He's basically a teacher in the Shri Aurobindo International School of Education. He has his class and he'll complete and he'll come back by 4 o'clock. And Nandini Senguptaji and celebrated writer is on the way, so he'll be joining in 5 minutes. And we have also Charu She is looking after the Balasahitya project, and my colleague. And we have our colleagues from Aurobindo Society, Kaushalji, and my colleague Divyanshu, Bhuvneshwarji, everyone. So I welcome you for this special initiative today. I'll just tell you a little background of this event, how this idea came up actually. When we joined the society, we started try to start some small initiatives, like little squirrels, rules making, say. Whatever projects we started, we just thought to do something for the children. Yeah, please come ahead. Welcome Nandini Shengupta ji for this initiative. So, yes. And when we started some projects, actually, we just thought to create something for the kids. And the line, like the mother's, childhood is the symbol of the future and all the future possibilities to come. Through, we created a project that is the Balasahitya towards creativity and integral development. And since the last 2.5 years, we are closely working with the schools and the communities, basically introducing culture in its different aspects. And I'll tell you the tremendous cooperation and the support which we received through this Puducherry Heritage Festival. More than 2,000 kids they participated. They performed about whatever creativity and expressions they had. So in terms of this, in that process, we also came in contact with many writers like Dr. Sundar Murganji, Bhupati Priyashwanji, many Tamil writers. It is not only the Tamil, English, Hindi, French, Odia, Bodo, many languages. So we just thought, let us come up with a digital portal because today's world is almost on online. Everything is going to be published. You can access it. So with this small hope, we just tried to cross this big ocean which is in front of us actually. And this project is the outcome of this. So we are very much happy. It's really a pleasurable moment for us. Our esteemed Pradeep Bhai and Dr. Rodkar from this prestigious Dr. Periya Swamiji, Dr. Sundar Murgan, Madam Nandini Shengupta ji, Gayatri Didi, Charu, and Madhusudhan Mahapadri will be joining soon. And before we start today's proceedings, I request our esteemed Pradeep Bhai to kindly release the web portal. So this, so you see these two beautiful photographs of mother and Shri and we have taken these quotations. Childhood is the symbol of the future and the hope of all victories to come. And with Shri Aurobindo is one of the quotes, every child is a lover of interesting narrative, a hero worshipper, and a patriot.
You know, we here in the ashram have grown up with stories, beautiful stories which the mother used to relate to the children in the evening classes. Many of these stories relate to the 12 virtues of the mother through which she manifests. Stories on gratitude, on courage, various aspects. Very beautiful stories. You know, I'm sure the children who heard it from her mouth really got something straight here. And all of us have read those stories. And these 12 virtues that she speaks of are inherent in us. And she manifests through us. That is why she said, I manifest myself through you, through these virtues. The more you relate to these virtues, the more I manifest through you. And when Sri Aurobindo speaks of practice of the psyche, it is the practice of these virtues in you where you check yourself as to how I stand as far as the virtue of courage goes. And this is practice it. How do you practice it? I mean, we know the psyche comes forward, what to do for the psyche coming forward. But how do you practice it? When he talks of practicing. with each you judge yourself, the rule of 0 to 10. Where do you stand as far as gratitude goes, as far as goodness goes, as far as forgiveness goes, etc. And you find that how short you fall. And then you pray to her and say, Mother, please make me taller, etc. And it's a remarkable way of, this is a roadmap that Sri Aurobindo has given us for practicing the psychic. And when you're ready with the psychic, then you practice spirituality as the next step. So, this web portal that we have just released, it's something which will encourage stories, poems, encourage the emotions, the necessary sentiments required from which impel human beings to do good. Hero worship, just speaks on like every child wants to listen to stories. I mean, as far as I can remember, I have not known a single child who doesn't like stories. My father, in fact, my daughter, I used to talk to my father who told me stories, very beautiful stories. And then I told my daughter, and she used to go off to sleep when I was speaking, before I could finish the stories. But every time it was a story about their mother. And it was not just a story. She said, I want an incident of mother's life and I want you to relate those. Now, how many incidents can I find? Every 65 nights you have to speak, to tell a story to your child. So I started talking about the mother but not relating the incidents. Which used to call that Ghatna Sano. Ghatna Sano. Ghatna is incident. So how many incidents could I find? 365 incidents is not easy. So when I started doing those, that is, I started spinning a yarn a bit, And she said, no. She used to spot me. No, I want the real one. So it was, the child has that imagination. If we can't encourage that, we're really not doing our job. So, it's a really wonderful effort that Kishori has done. And with this Balasahitya, we have to, I don't know what you will do, frankly, I could explain, that you find the best virtues in the best areas, which producing the best kind of sentiments in children, in different languages, so that it spreads, and perhaps one day write our own stories, which we are already doing. And I want, Gayatri, to talk to you about the publication which just come out. In fact, today it's come out. It's a beautiful story, one single story. A story of a very poignant story. It's a very touching story, of course. It's a very beautiful story and beautiful ending also. Story. But it is through stories really that history grows, and the nation grows. So, thank you so much for taking up this effort. Mr. Rutgert is from Netherlands, from the great place of The Hague, and he has just shown me something that he has done quite unique. You have a QR on each page, each story, and with the QR, as you press it, the music, the relevant music will start on say fruit or 1, 2, 3, or the relevant music starts. All you need is a phone. So it is not such a ridiculous instrument as we think it is. It does some good also, So it's very beautiful. From one side is the other one, and you turn around and you have another language, which is a great work, sir.
Thank you very much.
And I want you to talk about this.
Well, this is a publication. Sorry, this is a publication by Now Beyond. It's working at all. Okay. And it just got released today. I just had a small role in it because I edited the final version. This is a friendship between a lonely grandmother and how fate happens to intervene, and a little child meets this grandmother and how they become a family. So a very poignant yet very beautiful, relationship that develops. It's published by Navvihan, and I would like you to take a look at it maybe now, or even maybe go to Navvihan and pick up a copy. So I won't reveal everything about it, and the illustration is done in house. It's got all these color paintings, watercolored. So it's a beautiful story about children, how they also have this need to help others. It's not just we think we are helping these little children, but they in return they do so much for us. Give us this joy in life.
Like
So,
you said, need to help. The need to help.
yes.
Children have the need to help you.
Yes.
It's a natural instinct.
Yes.
Thank you, Pradeep bhai, for your inspiring and encouraging ideas. We will definitely try through this portal how we can actually touch the creativity and self-expression of the kids. When we talk about the languages, I would like to quote one of the ideas of Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan. He has said, Indian literature is one, but written in many languages. In Indian constitution, we have 22 languages, but apart from these 22 languages, we have hundreds and thousands of languages also which is being spoken all over the world. As per the UNESCO's record, there are more than 8,000 languages divided into 18 families. And the biggest families, the languages which is being taught is the Indo-European family, more than 1,000 languages. And the philologists, not only the Indian philologists, but also the Western philologists has told the Sanskrit is the mother of many European Indian languages. So this website is basically when this idea was came up. I will just quickly tell about what the idea and how we see. So you see, this is the beautiful logo designed by our in-house team, Shrutiji and Mr. Bharatji. A little kid, a little child is having a book. Nowadays, you see in this online presence, the kids, they do not have the passion to read the books. Even if the kids of 2 or 3 years of age, they are having the mobiles. And that also creates a disasters. What if they, so when this logo was come up, a little kid having a book, sitting in a post and reading these books. And the tagline which we have taken, that is Balasahitya-Towards creativity and self-expressions. This is not a platform to intermingle many books or whatever the publication works has been done, but it is a platform for creativity and self-expression. But now the question comes for creativity and self-expressions for whom? So this platform is basically, you see, Pradeep, can you see this? The platform is here. Here basically through this portal, what we want to address, that is the creativity and self-expressions, something on imaginative and fantasy elements, education and development issues, relatable characters and storylines, cultural and social representations, and more specific diversity of expressions and representations. This is basically the 6 ideas which we want to address through whatever literary works are there. So it will also focus on enhanced reading and stay like inspired, emotional resonance and moral clarity, communications and imaginative elements, and focus on educational values. Here you see this beautiful book. This is written by Devi Tiruvalvanji, the first book Pradeep bhai. This is a Tamil, written in Tamil. It is Sriaurobindosociety for children. This is a unique book recently published. And here you can see that there are different literatures like in Tamil, English, even if this is the ideal child translated into Tamil. Some of the society's publications like Aurobindo and many others. So the basic idea is to represent the diversity of language expressions and what exactly happening in the children's world and how we can address some significant areas. And when we talk about some theoretical things like this Balasahitya-Towards creativity and integral development, this is the program which we started some 2 years ago. And recently also we have started a special program for the kids to learn Sanskrit, that is Balu Sanskritam, and the Balasahitya is also the initiative which is started today, and also one project introducing the traditional games, particularly. And here you see, this is basically the magic of children's literature, how it can nurturing self-expressions and empowering minds. Here we are trying to put some content on a regular basis, like some stories by the mother. Like we have here, we have added one story that is the, as Pradeep bhai told, like a story of initiation. So slowly we will be publishing those stories. Ideal child, like we have hundreds of stories for the kids. Like this Sam in the classroom. We have also added, this is a very beautiful story, but Lord Krishna says, Lord Krishna acts as a teacher. Like here you will find some Tamil creation, some poems in Sanskrit language and many others. These are some of the past program activities since the last 2 years, how we are going to address such issues. And of course, we have the social media presence, whatever we are doing little bit, these are some of the links. And in the resources space, basically, you will find in the multiple of languages, here only we have given the information what the society has already published before. And also some new publications, like here we have added some new publications like in Odia language. This is basically one unfinished search. He is basically an Assamese writer. Extensively, he has written on the folk cultures and many others. And slowly, this process will be continued and it will be developed. So we hope to receive many literatures, many languages, so that the ideas will be repeated. So I should say that this is basically an offering to at the lotus feet of Shri Aurobindo and Mother on this special day. And we aspire that it will grow like a small seed. So this is the information about the portal, how it developed. Before we proceed to the panel discussion section, I would like to introduce Charu, is my spouse and colleague at Aurobindo Society, who meticulously looks after the programs and the design, the documentation of data collections. We have also Mr. Divyanshu please, and Mr. Surendraji. They are the technical mind, those who have developed this website, and it has been made in a very organic way, not spending lakhs of rupees, in a very meticulous way, whatever resources we have utilized. So, with the blessings of the Mother and Shri Aurobindo and what Pradeep bhai suggested, his ideas, we'll definitely work on it and to make it successful. So, and now may I request our esteemed guest from the Netherlands, Dr. Rodler. So, kindly say a few words on this occasion.
Om Shri Aurobindo Namaha. It's lovely to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I actually have been in Ireland for most of my life, the last 50 years, and we have a school there called John Scottish School. It has about 200 children there learning Sanskrit. In that school they have to do Sanskrit, so that's one condition. If you go to that school, you just do Sanskrit. It was an insight. Our Guruji, Sri Shatananda Saraswati from Allahabad, Prayag, I think, yes. He told us, look, if you establish schools in the West or wherever, Australia, there are a few like that all over the world, you must teach Sanskrit in those schools. So we stuck to that principle, and we have some other practices like making the mind calm at the beginning, at the end of each class, at the beginning and end of each activity really, whether it's meals or class times, so that the mind can focus and buddhi can operate, there can be a bit of viveka. So that's, we have certain practices from which we have been given, and that's how the school is flourishing and it's expanding. Since 1986, when there were 12 students, there are now 380 students in the secondary, primary and secondary school. We can only teach Sanskrit to the primary school children because our Sanskrit isn't good enough for secondary school level. So we can only go this far at the moment. So hopefully in time we will continue. The school in London, St. James, they do teach right up to A level. The problem was the method I got from the school in London was very academic. The parents were complaining and the children were complaining. This is around 2008. I took over the Sanskrit department. So they felt that the children were not enjoying Sanskrit. So I went to India for a year and I stayed in the Gurukula in Veda-Vijnana Gurukula in Bangalore for a year, and I traveled around India to find a suitable system. And Anuradha, you may know her, she invited me to meet Narendraji, Dr. Narendra, and we sat together and I felt this is a very natural way of teaching Sanskrit. So I asked him for help and he's been very generous over the years. I come here every summer and he helps me, and so this is how these books get published. So also he has new methods for teaching reading and writing Devanagari Lipi. And he always refers to the mother for the principles behind education. So I find those principles really inspiring. Simple things like go from the known to the new. 90% in this day and age should be through understanding, maybe 10% through memory work. Whereas in the old days it would have been the opposite, 90% and 10%. So all these, in this day and age, people are better at working things out for themselves in their minds. In the old days, people were better at just learning things off mindlessly, but then, and hopefully they could apply them. So we are more into application and less into memory work. So the only memory work we need to do is through the songs, and there are about 150 songs from Narendraji, and they convey either grammar, they convey so the grammar is taught through songs which the children dance and sing to. And so they really love Sanskrit now. If you ask them what's your favorite subject, most children will say Sanskrit. So I think he has really helped us. We're very grateful for Shri Aurobindo and the mother, obviously, but also for Narendraji to really put us on the right path. Because it's what children need. They don't need intellectual books, they need books for children. And so we have tried and tested it. It's really successful. No parents are complaining these days, why are my children? They see the children happy. In the back of the car, they're still singing the songs as they're being brought home, etc. So we know this is working. So I really want to express my gratitude here in this platform, because I don't think I could have done it without this input. So if you want to have a look at this book, I'll pass it around. The new thing about it is there are QR codes on each page where there is a song. If you point your mobile phone to that, the song starts playing. You have to put your camera there and make 1 or 2 clicks on your phone, and then the song starts playing. The problem is CDs are no longer acceptable. There are no ports for CDs on computers anymore, so there's no point giving people CDs. The other thing that we found very helpful is color coding every page. So if a page is green, it's because we're dealing with Napunsakalinga. If a page is blue, it's Punlingam, and this other color, so the reddish color, is Strilingam. So the children don't learn grammatical terms, they don't really need to know those complicated words. It's for small children. So that we start at age 5 and go up to age 12. And we're looking for a public exam, but we haven't found one yet. But well, we are using Little Guru. You may know the website Little Guru. We are using that at the moment to see in a public exam how well could they do, rather than our personal exam. They feel they have done a subject, which they have done an exam. So that's more or less. So there are 3 volumes. This is book volume 1. This 3rd edition. we've taken out complicated things that weren't helpful and put in more useful exercises. So every time it's improving. I don't know which way would I pass it around? This way? Just have a look through it so that you familiarize yourself with it if you find it any use. So thank you for inviting.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rodger, for presenting your ideas. What you say, you have done in practice actually. And I'll tell you, I heard his name many times when I was in Delhi and he got the awards there, but today is a special day to be met with you. While listening to you, one thing came to mind, what mother said about the simplified Sanskrit. So you see, when we learned the language from our mother, like no grammar, nothing was needed actually. Like the mother tongue, everything in a spontaneous way. So thank you so much for your ideas, and we look forward to like such beautiful literatures. If it can be find a place for this portal, it will be wonderful actually. If any small contents like poetry, stories, etc., that will be a wonderful one. So, and also we would love to collaborate with the institutions in Netherlands where we are similar ideas working with. And thank you so much for your this. So I can understand today the gathering is less because 15th August many devotees have come. They are spread around Puducherry because exploring many places where the divine is, and also the city is also flooded with because this 14th August, this Republic Day preparation is going on. Our director department from art and culture, he was supposed to join, but he is also busy in the LG office. Some program is going on, but he'll join. Mother has told one thing, number, there is no matter what the numbers actually. Like you see, you take the example of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is a popular text in the ancient times, in the contemporary world also. When Lord Krishna told something about Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it was only a discourse between Lord Krishna and Arjuna. And those who have some special eyes or some special consciousness, they were only able to perceive what is happening in this battlefield. So, what is happening exactly in the battlefield, the world is scattered with many ideas, many wars, but still we, small group of community people who are discussing something about this. And when we planned for this release of this portal, we also thought to let us invite some eminent speakers to discuss a little bit about a topic. So the topic which we are choosing is the magic of children's literature, empowering minds and how it can cultivate our creativity and self-expressions. As I introduced, we have 4 speakers. Dr. Sri Pradeep Narang, Dr. Sundar Muruganji, they are presenting many innovative ideas implementing the children's creativity and expressions. We have Gayatri Didi and Nandini Sengupta-ji. So I request we'll start with Madam Nandini Sengupta-ji. Can you please explain your ideas, what exactly, when we talk about the magic of children's literature, what is the magic and how can this magic can be revealed? Please.
Namaskar, thank you for inviting me, and I'm so sorry I was a bit late because of logistic problems. I'm so happy to see this endeavor. It's much needed, and it's interesting that you are talking about the magic of storytelling. I often tell, I also teach creative writing in knowledge, in the undergrad level. And a lot of those kids, when they come to my class, they say, Nandini, I'm going to be an engineer, or I will get into a business management program. Why should I read literature? Why should I read literature? I'm not going to be a writer, I'm not going to be a journalist, so why should I read stories? And these kids, the ashram school kids, you have to give them a very good reason. Otherwise, they're not going to listen to you if you say because I say so. So my answer to them is very simply is that language, as we know it, does not survive. It's like a very, very poor technology. If we look at some of the oldest, I'm a history buff, so I will give some history references here. If we look at some of the oldest inscriptions and language evidence that we have, the Indus Valley, in the Saraswati seals, that language has still not been deciphered. We haven't managed to crack it. So if those people 5,000 years ago were sending us a WhatsApp message through their seals, we have no idea what they are saying because we don't know how to read that language anymore, right? And even the ones that we have managed to read, if you look at, say, Ashoka's inscriptions, right? That language, Prakrit, is no longer used. That script, Brahmi, is no longer used. So language is like technology, right? Like just like you were saying that CDs have become defunct. If you have a CD, you may have information, you will not be able to access it. Language is like that. So how do you send information about our past to people who will come 200, 300, 500, 2000, 5000 years from now? If you are going to write it on paper, it will probably disintegrate unless we are living in Egypt, in which case the dryness of the climate will make sure that some of them will survive. Even if you carve them on rock face, those who come after you may not be able to read it because the language itself, the script itself will change. So how do you send that message? You send it through stories. And the myths that we read, the stories that we read, that's our memory pool, our collective memory pool. We remember what happened in the past because generation after generation after generation, people will repeat those stories, right? And I will give a very simple example. Pradeep Bhai was talking about bedtime stories for his daughter. When I was a little girl, very small, I used to be a very cranky little child, and so my mom had 2 or 3 lullabies that she would always sing to me. So one of them was Kuki Humalo Para. This is in Bangla, I'm Bengali. I'll quickly translate as well, but it goes something like this. Kuki Humalo Para Juralo Borgi Elo Deshe Bulbulite Dhan Kheyeche Khajna Debo Kishe. So Cookie is a little girl. My little baby has gone off to sleep and the neighborhood is finally quiet and the Bargis have come, but my crop has been eaten up by sparrows. So how am I going to pay my taxes? Now, when I was a little child, I just liked the tat 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 rhythm, and it would make me go off to sleep. It was like a security blanket. But many years later, when I was a journalist, I was in my mid-30s and I was reading about the Maratha Empire. I realized that this little, very whimsical, lullaby was history. That in the 17th and 18th centuries, when the Maratha Bargis were tax collectors, they would go and collect 2-3 types of taxes. There was the Chaut, there was the Sardesh Mukhi, there was the Khas Pani. They would go and collect it from almost all of India, because not just Deccan, but most parts of India, which was part of the Maratha Empire. And one of the problems was if there was a crop failure and the farmer could not pay that tax, they would simply abandon their land and go off into the forests. Because if you have a crop failure, then you can't pay your taxes. So what my mom was telling me was history. And this is so true because it's not just India. I mean, I was doing this lecture for my daughter's class just a couple of weeks back on how nursery rhymes, English nursery rhymes, are all about history. And I can just give 2 or 3 very random examples. For instance, if you look at Baba Black Sheep, we all know that, right? Baba Black Sheep, having any wool, yes sir, 3 bags full. What do you think it is talking about? It's talking about a wool tax that was introduced in England in the 13th century, and that wool tax meant 1 for my master, 1 for his dame, 1 for the little boy who lives down the lane, 1 for my master, the king, 1 for his dame, the church, 1 for the little boy. So the peasant or the shepherd kept only 1/3 of what he produced. So this was about the bull dance. So so this is, and there are so many examples like this, which directly talk about. There is another one. This is my favorite actually. It goes something like this: Mistress Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow in silver, with silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row? Who would have thought that this is about Queen Elizabeth I, Elizabeth Tudor's very bloodthirsty older sister Mary? Because she, on the silver bells and cockle shells, these were all torture instruments used to torture Protestants as heretics and burn them. So what I'm trying to say is that every story, every song, every nursery rhyme, every lullaby helps take a memory and send that message into the future. And the only way we can do that is through stories. And I tell my kids that if you don't read those stories, no matter how many tests you crack and how many NEET exams or whatever it is that you do, you will essentially be illiterate, because you will have no idea where you've come from and you will not be able to join the dots. And at the end of the day, unless you join the dots, you're not really educated, right? You're wearing blinkers and you're getting a little piece of the jigsaw puzzle. The wider picture will forever be outside your grasp. And I think that is where the magical storytelling comes. When you say the same thing, and I see this because I write historical fiction, I write narrative history, and when I go to lit fests, I have young people come up to me and say, "Man, but history is so boring." And they're right. History is boring. It's taught very badly in India. And it is, I can vouch for that myself. I never did history in college. I found it very boring. I found it later on. And when I was reading it, not because I had to memorize stuff for an exam, or because I had to remember the dates and the dynasties and all that, but I was reading it for the stories in it. I found it fascinating. And then I realized that if you take history, the huge part of history is story. You get the stories, you get to join the dots. And so, if you can say the same things, if you can give the same information, but you give it through stories, children will love it. They will like to read it. They will retain it better. They will remember it better. It's so interesting, when my students ask me, "Oh, you know so much about British history. How do you know that? You never did history in college. So did you read British history?" I said, "No. What I did read, though, is historical fiction. I read, authors, my favorite authors. Hilary Mantel, Philippa Gregory, Bernard Cornwell, Walter Scott. I love these writers. I've read their works. And because the stories were so compelling, you kind of remember the stories and you remember the history, right? If you remember what happened to, Henry VIII, you will remember what happened to his 8 wives, and it sort of gets embedded in your head. It never goes away. And so that's the best way of sending whatever it is, whatever message we need to send to the generation that's coming after us. The best way we can do it is if we bury it in a little kernel of storytelling.
Wow, this is really beautiful. Listening to you, I was just recalling the writings of our former president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. In one of his speeches, he mentioned one line that past mates with the present and it creates the future. You gave many examples from the history, how these incidents of nuclear studies. Recently, we organized a program, many of the college students are there. So, I was talking something about Shri Aurobindo and Maharishi Dayananda Saraswati's contribution for Sanatan Dharma and Swaraj. I asked to those college students, do you know who was the British people? Out of 100, only 3 or 4 hands were raised, and 97 students they do not know who the British were.
Yeah.
You will ask them who the Indians are, because you do not have the identity, the loss of identity is there. So what you have conveyed, particularly communicating to the stories, how this knowledge passes on. So Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam mentions on the past meets with the present and it creates the future actually. Like many of the languages, you can say that in every day or every week one language is disappearing from the human mind because there is no users. Like there is today's in the contemporary time there is no CD users. Might be after some years these mobiles will be useless. If the technology is gone, where will find out what to read? At that time you will be requiring such literatures. I'd like to tell you one interesting about Rishi Patanjali. That time there was no laptop, no papers, nothing else. When Rishi Patanjali was educating the students, they were basically writing on the leaves. So what happened when a group of students were there and those students were writing on the leaves, sometimes the boats, they're coming and taking small some leaves like that. If you refer to the Mahabharata text, it says in somewhere between Aja Bhakshita, that means eaten by the goat. So it's a very interesting thing. So what these ancient people have done, they have made the tremendous efforts. Whatever knowledge came to their mind, they preserved through the stones, leaves, whatever they found there. But what beautifully you have mentioned about communicating, that communication of that message for the better humanity. And nowadays, you see these reels, some 30 seconds, 20 seconds, are how popular. These small kids, one by one, they are spending hours after hours. If you give some 50 or 100 pages or 20 pages book, they don't have the patience to start and end the book. They're just to open it like that. So in this way, I feel, and it is not like that no one is reading the books. As per the NBT and the Department of Publication of Government of India's report, in every year in 27 languages, more than 50,000 books have been published. Not only the children's literature. 50,000 means whatever this ISBN through their track actually. So thank you so much for your ideas, and we'll continue this endeavor further because since the ground is ready, we have to do interest multiple seeds so that the tree will come, a little birds will come, they will sing, chant like that. So we have an eminent speaker, Sri Dr. Bhupati Swamiji, who is the former director from Department of Elementary Education from Government of Puducherry. And he is connected with the literary world, one of the biggest. And of course, I was part of the National Academy of Letters in my last service. And he is also popular in his region through his academic writings and all things. Sir, I request you to kindly speak something on this.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a great opportunity to participate here. As an academician and also writer, I felt this auditorium is now feel as heaven. Why? Because in heaven, good peoples are there, good words are speaking, good events are happening in heaven. So nowadays, there is no chance to hear good words for children especially. There is no chance to meet good friends, especially for children. There is no chance to participate good events, especially for children. So, in this situation, AuroBharati, Sri Aurobindo Society launching web portal Balasahitya. It is a great initiative. First of all, I congratulate all the team members, especially Tripadi brother, for such an initiative. It's actually essential and needy for children nowadays. And also, as a former Deputy Director of Elementary Education, I want to say some words about regarding nowadays the student situation. Olden days, now myself also, joint family. For the past 60 years, 50 years, we are living with a joint family. But students nowadays living with the cell phones, mostly living with cell phones. it is great. What do you say? தமிழ்ல மோசமான ஒரு சூழ்நிலையை சமுதாயம், குறிப்பாக குழந்தைகள் சமுதாயம் சென்று கொண்டிருக்கிறது என்பதற்கு ஒரு மாறுதலாக இந்த நிகழ்ச்சி நடந்து கொண்டிருக்கிறது. ஏன்னு சொன்னா அது வந்து அப்படியே விட்டுறக்கூடாது. குழந்தைங்க வந்து நான் பைலிங்குவல் அப்படியே கொஞ்சம் பேசுறேன் வித் பர்மிஷன். குழந்தைங்க வந்து இப்போ அப்படியே போயிட்டு நம்ம அதை கைட் பண்ணணும். அண்ட் ஆல்சோ நம்ம வந்து அவங்க லீடர்ஷிப் கொண்டு வரதுக்கு சம் இனிஷியேட்டிவ்ஸ் மஸ்ட் பி வி ஹேவ் டு டேக்கன். ஸோ அதை தான் இந்த வெப் போர்ட்டல். ஸோ நாங்கள் கூட இது ஒரு ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டியை நான் எடுத்துக்கிறேன். இஸ் மை சன் கவிபாரதி, விஷுவல் கம்யூனிகேஷன் முடிச்சிருக்காங்க. ரன்னிங் ஒன் யூடியூப் சேனல் 2 months before start பண்ண specially for children. If you allow all guys, I want to show 6 minutes video. YouTube animals based. So it's just 6 minutes.
Please.
Kavi equal part. And one more thing I want to share. This is my storybook actually, namely யானையை வென்ற எறும்புகள்.
The ants which won the elephant.
Oh. And won the elephants. This title YouTube also 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, 6 minutes, small tips and all. This one, my one of colleague writer, namely Nancy Morgan, aged 37 years, belongs Europe, actually native. So actually Valayapadi, 5 great epics, Valayapadi, Manimegalai, Kundalagesi, in Tamil there are 5 epics. Whole Valayapadi books, volume, pages, more volume. So அதை என்ன பண்ணிருக்காங்கன்னா சுருக்கி just 36 pagesல ஒரு small book வந்து ரிலீஸ் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. Great storyteller actually, Nancy Morgan. So if suppose if you wish to
sir. We can upload it in the portal also.
Yes.
ஒரு காட்டுல விலங்குகள் பல ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமாக வாழ்ந்து வருகிறது. அந்த காட்டினுடைய தலைவனாக சிங்கம் வந்து பல ஆண்டுகளாக இருந்து வருது. அந்த சிங்கத்துக்கு ஒரு நாள் பயங்கர பசி, வேட்டைக்கு புறப்படுகிறது. எந்த ஒரு விலங்கும் அப்பொழுது அதன் கண்ணில் தென்படவில்லை. உடனே தூரத்தில் ஒரு புள்ளி மான்குட்டி, அழகிய ஒரு புள்ளி மான்குட்டி தனியாக மேய்ந்து கொண்டிருக்கிறது. உடனடியாக இதுக்கு ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம். பார்த்த உடனே சிங்கத்துக்கு நல்ல இறைச்சி உணவு கிடைத்து விட்டது என்ற மகிழ்ச்சியிலே அந்த புள்ளி மான்குட்டியினுடைய அருகே சிங்கம் சென்றது. அதை அருகே சென்று பார்த்ததும் அதற்கு ஒரு பரிதாபம் வந்துவிட்டது. பார்ப்பதற்கு அழகாக இருக்கிறது, வயதும் மிக மிக குறைவு. இதை அடித்து சாப்பிடுவதை விட நாம் பட்டினியாகவே கிடைக்கலாம் என்று எண்ணி அந்த மான்குட்டியை தன்னோடவே அந்த சிங்கமானது அழைத்து வந்து விடுகிறது. அன்றையிலிருந்து அந்த புள்ளி மான்குட்டியானது சிங்கத்தோடு தோழமையோடு நெருங்கி பழகி விளையாடி கொண்டிருக்கிறது. இதை பார்த்த மற்ற விலங்குகளுக்கெல்லாம் பொறாமை ஒரு புறம், சந்தோஷம் ஒரு புறம் இருந்தாலும் பொறாமை வந்து அதிகமாக ஆகிவிட்டது. திடீரென ஒரு மான்குட்டி மீது சிங்கம் இவ்வளவு பாசத்தை செலுத்துகிறது என்று தூரத்திலிருந்து ஒரு ஓநாய் பல நாட்களாக இதை கவனித்து வந்தது. அந்த ஓநாய்க்கு அந்த மான்குட்டியை அழித்து சாப்பிட வேண்டும் என்ற ஒரு எண்ணம் சில நாட்களாக இருந்து வந்தது. ஒரு மாதம் கடந்தது, அந்த எண்ணம் ஈடேறவில்லை. திடீரென ஓநாய்க்கு ஒரு சிந்தனை வந்தது. எப்படியாவது அந்த சிங்கத்திடமிருந்து மான்குட்டியை பிரித்து விட வேண்டும் என்று எண்ணி ஒரு நாள் அதற்கான நாளாக தேர்ந்தெடுத்து சிங்கத்தின் குகைக்கரையில் சென்றது. சிங்கம் நன்கு உறங்கிக் கொண்டிருந்தது. வெளியில் காவல் காத்துக் கொண்டிருந்த ஒரு சிங்க உதவியாளர் மற்றொரு சிங்கமானது எதற்காக வந்திருக்கிறாய் என்று ஓநாயிடம் கேட்கிறது. சிங்கராக வளர்ந்து வரக்கூடிய மான்குட்டியை பற்றி சில செய்திகளை எல்லாம் நான் சொல்ல வேண்டும் என்று அந்த உதவியாளர் இருந்து வரக்கூடிய சிங்கத்திடம் இல்ல ஓநாய் வந்து சொல்கிறது. சிங்கராஜா ஓய்வெடுத்துக் கொண்டிருக்கிறார், சற்று நேரம் பொறுத்து காத்திரு என்று ஓநாயிடம் அந்த உதவியாளர் சிங்கம் வந்து சொல்லிவிடுகிறது. கொஞ்ச நேரம் கழிச்சது உதவியாளர் வந்து அந்த சிங்கராஜாவிடம் உள்ளே சென்று, உங்களை பார்ப்பதற்கு ஒரு ஓநாய் வந்துள்ளது, என்ன விஷயமாம் என்று கேட்கிறது சிங்கராஜா. நீங்கள் ஆசையாக வளர்த்து வரக்கூடிய புள்ளிமானை பற்றி ஏதோ ஒரு செய்தியை அந்த ஓநாய் உங்களிடம் சொல்ல வேண்டுமா என்று அந்த உதவியாளர் சிங்கம் வந்து சிங்கராஜாவிடம் சொல்கிறது. சரி, வர சொல் என்று கர்ஜித்தபடி அந்த சிங்கமானது கட்டளையிடுகிறது. கட்டளைப்படி ஓநாயும் உள்ளே பாய்ந்தபடி நடுங்கி பேசுகிறது. என்ன என்று ஒரு கம்பீரமான குரலில் சிங்கமானது ஓநாயை பார்த்து கேட்கிறது. இல்ல, நீங்க சில மாதங்களாக புள்ளிமான் குட்டியை வளர்த்து வரீங்க, அவரை பற்றி அதை பற்றிய சில செய்திகளை எல்லாம் உங்களுக்கு நான் சொல்ல வேண்டும் என்று அந்த சிங்கராஜாவிடம் ஓநாய் சொல்கிறது. உடனே சிங்கத்திற்கு லேசாக சிரிப்பு வந்து விட்டது. சரி, நீ சொல்ல வந்த விஷயத்தை என்னிடம் சொல்வதற்கு முன்பாக நான் உன்னிடம் 3 கேள்விகளை கேட்பேன். அந்த 3 கேள்விகளுக்கும் நீ சரி என்று பதில் சொல்லிவிட்டால் நீ வந்த செய்தியை என்னிடம் சொல்லலாம் என்று சிங்கராஜா ஓநாயிடம் திரும்பி பதிலளித்தது. ஓநாய்க்கு ஓரளவு தெம்பு வந்து விட்டது. எப்படியும் இன்றைக்கு பிரித்து விடலாம், மான்குட்டி சிங்கத்திடமிருந்து பிரித்து விடலாம் என்று நினைத்துக் கொண்டிருந்தது. உடனே சிங்கராஜா முதல் கேள்வி ஓநாயிடம் கேட்கிறது, நீ சொல்ல வந்த விஷயம் நேரில் பார்த்த விஷயமா என்று ஓநாயிடம் கேட்கிறது. அதற்கு ஓநாய் பயந்து நடிக்கபடி இல்லை என்று பதில் சொல்கிறது. இரண்டாவதாக சிங்கம் அடுத்த கேள்வியை கேட்கிறது, நீ பார்த்த விஷயம் நல்ல விஷயமா என்று கேட்கிறது. அதற்கும் ஓநாய் இல்லை என்று பதிலளிக்கிறது. சிங்கத்திற்கு கடும் கோபம். கடைசி கேள்வி, 3வது கேள்வியை கேட்கப் போகிறேன் என்று, நீ சொல்ல வந்த செய்தியா யாருக்கேனும் ஏதேனும் பலன் உண்டா என்று ஓநாயை பார்த்து சிங்கம் கேட்கிறது. அதற்கும் ஓநாய் வந்து இல்லை என்று பதில் சொல்கிறது. சிங்கத்திற்கு கடும் கோபம் வந்துவிட்டது. அப்பொழுது உடனே கர்ஜித்தபடி ஓநாயை பார்த்து, உண்மையும் இல்லாத, நீ நேரிலும் பார்க்காத, யாருக்கும் பலனில்லாத ஒரு செய்தியை நான் ஆசையாக வளர்த்துக்கு வரக்கூடிய மான்குட்டியை பற்றி ஏதோ ஒரு செய்தியை சொல்ல என்னிடம் வந்திருக்கிறாய். ஒரு நோக்கம் எனக்கு தெரிந்துவிட்டது, ஒழுங்காக இங்கிருந்து ஓடிவிடு என்று தன்னுடைய காலால் ஓங்கி அந்த தலையில் அடிக்க ஓடுகிறது. உடனே அந்த ஓநாய் நடுங்கியபடி அங்கிருந்து ஓடி மறைந்து விடுகிறது. அன்பு நண்பர்களே, நேரமும் காலமும் ஒன்போன்றது. அடுத்தவரை பற்றி உண்மை இல்லாத, நல்லவையும் அல்லாத, யாருக்கும் பயன்படாத செய்திகளை பேசுவதையும் கலந்து ஆலோசிப்பதையும் தவிர்ப்போம். நேரத்தை சேமிப்போம். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
Actually, within 2 months, 12 videos நாங்கள் போஸ்ட் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். Yesterday also post one video. Independence Day-ன்றதால ரிலேட்டடாக who is a good leader அப்படின்ற ஒரு டாப்பிக்கில் யார் தலைவன் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஸ்டூடெண்ட் பேஸில் ஒரு வீடியோ போட்டிருக்கோம். இந்த வீடியோ மோஸ்ட்லி சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணியிருக்கவங்க, ஷேர் பண்ணுறவங்க, லைக் பண்ணுறவங்க எல்லாருமே பார்த்தீங்கன்னு சொன்னால், இப்போது எனக்கு ரொம்ப மகிழ்ச்சின்னு சொன்னால் சில்ட்ரன்ஸ் குரூப் தான். சில்ட்ரன்ஸ் குரூப், ஏன்னா நான் வந்து டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்டில் வைஸ் பிரின்சிபல், டீச்சர் எல்லா கேட்டகரியும் இருந்திருக்கேன். பிரைமரி ஸ்கூல் டீச்சர், trained graduate teachers, that is handling classes up to 10th, and also lecturer handling classes up to 12th, basically physics teacher myself, and also deputy director, retired ஆகும்போது deputy director retired ஆனேன். ஸோ அதனால் மோஸ்ட் ஆஃப் ஸ்டூடெண்ட் சர்க்கிள், டீச்சர் சர்க்கிள் வந்து எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சதெல்லாம் அதை ஷேர் பண்ணும்பொழுது அது நிறைய இப்போ ரீச் ஆயிருக்கு. எனக்கு ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமாக இருக்குது. கமெண்ட்ஸும் நிறைய பாஸ் பண்ணுறாங்க. இப்போ இந்த செல்ஃபோன் நிறைய வந்து ஆக்குபை பண்ணிட்டு நேரத்தையும் இந்த ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஷிப் எப்படி அப்படின்லான்ற சூழலில் இது வந்து ஒரு குட் இனிஷியேட்டிவாக நாங்கள் வீட்லேயே ஒரு ஸ்டுடியோ செட்டப் பண்ணிட்டோம். ஏன்னா அவர் வந்து மாஸ்டர் டிகிரி எம்எஸ்சி விஷுவல் கம்யூனிகேஷன், எடிட்டிங் ஃபுல்லாக அவரே பண்ணுறாரு, படங்கள் ஃபுல்லாக அவரே ஃபிக்ஸ் பண்ணுறாரு, பிக்சர்ஸ் எல்லாமே, சவுண்ட் மிக்சிங் எல்லாமே அவரே பண்ணுறாரு. வீட்லேயே அவருக்கு வச்சு கொடுத்துட்டோம், ஒரு கன்சர்ன் வச்சு கொடுத்துட்டோம். ஸோ அதனால் அதுதான் இப்போது நாங்கள் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். இது வந்து ஒரு குட் சான்ஸ், இது நல்ல ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி. இது ரைட் டைமில் ரைட் பிளேஸில் வந்து இதை நாங்கள் ப்ளே பண்ணுறதுக்கு சார்லாம் வந்து எங்களுக்கு அவருடைய நான் முகத்தை பார்த்துனே இருந்தேன், அந்த ஃபீல் வந்து பார்த்தேன். ரொம்ப ஹாப்பியாக இருக்கு. ஏன்னா ஒரு நல்ல பிள்ளை, என்னுடைய சன் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு குட் சன் வந்து ஒரு நல்ல ஒரு குட் காமன் காஸ்க்காக அவர் கொஞ்சம் ஒர்க் பண்ணுறாங்கன்னு சொன்னால் இதை எடிட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு இட் டேக் 6 hours 7 hours ஆகும். ஜஸ்ட் ரெக்கார்டிங் முடிச்சுட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் எடிட் பண்ணிவிட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் சவுண்ட் மிக்சிங்லாம் பண்ணுறாங்க. சப்போஸ் திரிபாதி சார் வந்து ஏதாவது ஒரு ஹெல்ப் தேவைப்பட்டதுன்னா யூ கேன் யூஸ், ஏதாவது ஃபியூச்சரில் ஏதாவதுன்னா உங்களுக்கு இட்ஸ் ரெடி டு ஹெல்ப் எனி டைம். ஏன்னா ஒரு அதுக்காக தான் இருக்க டெடிகேட்டட் ஆக்சுவலி. ஏன்னா அந்த மாதிரி தான் நாங்கள் அவரை வளர்த்துருக்கோம்.
We can add the links in the portal so that all the children may make use of it.
Yes, definitely.
ஸோ நீங்கள் இது வந்து செய்கிறது வந்து எங்களுக்கு ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமாக இருக்குது. சார் வந்து ரொம்ப நிறைய நாள் நாங்கள் இங்கே வந்து நிறைய நிகழ்ச்சிகள் கலந்து கொண்டாலும் இது வந்து கரெக்டான ஒரு நிகழ்ச்சியாக படுது, ஒரு நல்ல ஒரு இனிஷியேட்டிவாக படுது. ஸோ இதுக்கு வந்து நான் உண்மையிலே ரொம்ப சந்தோஷப்படுறேன். 3 விஷயங்களை மாத்திரம் நான் சொல்லி கன்க்ளூட் பண்ணிக்கிறேன். பொதுவாக ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ்ட்டு இப்போ இந்த ஸ்டடி ஸ்கில் வந்து குறைஞ்சி போச்சு, எல்லாருக்குமே தெரியும். ஏதோ கடமைக்காக எக்ஸாமினேஷன் ஓரியன்டாக ஏதோ ரீட் பண்ணுறான், அந்த டைம் தூக்கி போட்டு உடனே செல்ஃபோன். ஸோ அதனால் நம்ம முதல்ல அது எதுக்குன்றதை அவனுக்கு புரிய வைக்கணும். எக்ஸ்பேண்ட் நாலேஜ், அந்த ஒரு நம்ம ஸ்கில் ஹேபிட்டு, அந்த ஸ்டடி ஹேபிட் இருந்ததுனால தான் நம்மளுக்கு நாலேஜ் வந்து ஆக்சுவலாக எக்ஸ்பேண்ட் ஆச்சு நம்ம பழைய காலத்தில் நம்ம படிக்கும்போதுலாம். அதே போல் ஸ்கில் டெவலப்மெண்ட் வந்து வேணும்னு சொன்னால் சில்ட்ரன் ஷுட் ரீட் ஆக்சுவலி. ஸோ அந்த ஹேபிட் வேணும். அண்ட் ஆல்சோ அந்த பர்சனல் லைஃப் ஸ்டைல் வந்து ஸ்ட்ரீம்லைன் பண்ணுறது. பர்சனல் லைஃப் ஸ்டைல் ஸ்ட்ரீம் சில்ட்ரன் சொன்னால் அவனுக்கு வந்து அந்த ஸ்டடி ஹேபிட் வரணும். ஸோ இது 3த்தையும் நம்ம கொண்டு வரணும்னு சொன்னால் நிச்சயமாக இந்த போர்ட்டல் வெப்சைட் அவன் அட்லீஸ்ட் பார்ப்பான், சர்ச் பண்ணுவான், கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமாக அவனுடைய மைண்ட் டைவெர்ட் ஆகிட்டு அவன் ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்காக வந்துடுவான். நம்ம என்ன நினைக்கிறோமோ அதில் வந்து கொண்டு வந்து நம்மளுடைய வலையில் வந்து அவன் வந்துடுவான். ஸோ அதனால் இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு நல்ல ஒரு நிகழ்ச்சியில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நான் ரொம்ப தேங்க்ஸ் பண்ணேன். ஏன்னா காலையில் ஒரு ஸ்கூல் போயிட்டு தான் ப்ரோக்ராம் முடிச்சுட்டு வந்தோம். மார்னிங்கே ஒரு ரூரல் பேஸ்டு ஸ்கூலில் போயிட்டு ப்ரோக்ராம் முடிச்சுட்டு ஒரு 2 o'clock தான் வந்தோம். உடனே கிளம்பி வந்துட்டேன். ஏன்னு சொன்னால் இது வந்து என்னோட டியூட்டி, இது இட்ஸ் டியூட்டி மாதிரி ரெஸ்பான்சிபிள் ஆர்ஸ். ஏன்னா நான் ஒரு பேசிக்லி டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்டில் எஜுகேஷன் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்டில் இருந்ததால் எனக்கு உண்மையிலே ஒரு பெரிய ஹாப்பியாக இருக்குது. இந்த சில்ட்ரன்ஸ் டே வந்து எனக்கு இன்னைக்கு சந்தோஷமாக போகும். இப்பொழுது ஒரு நல்ல நிகழ்ச்சி, நான் தமிழில் சொல்லும் பொழுது நல்ல சொல், நல்ல நிகழ்வு, நல்ல மனிதர்கள், இது 3ம் இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு ஆள் வந்து இப்போ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நான் தான் சொன்னேன் ஹெவன், இட்ஸ் லைக் ஹெவன். ஸோ எனக்கு ரொம்ப ஹாப்பியாக இருக்குது. நீங்கள் இந்த போர்ட்டல் சம்மந்தமாக ஏதாவது சப்போஸ் நீங்கள் உங்களுக்கு ஹெல்ப் தேவைப்பட்டுன்னு சொன்னால் நீங்கள் எனி டைம் நீங்கள் கால் பண்ணுங்கள் சார். நான் ஒரு பிரதராக வந்து உங்களுக்கு எல்லாத்தையும் செய்யறதுக்கு நான் கண்டிப்பாக நிச்சயமாக ரெடியாக இருக்கேன். தேங்க்யூ வெரி மச்.
Thank you so much for your insights. I should say, Dr. Bhupati Bhaiya, you mentioned about this small place is just like about heaven. The scripture says heaven is a kind of thing which everyone aspires. Tad Vishnuho paramam padam sada pashyanti suraya. That means that Lord Vishnu's abode, which is called the heaven, always aspires by the gods. Always they aspires. And heaven is such a place where a being cannot sustain for all the times from the time. If you have the punyam, then we can sustain there. And since we are on the Martyaloka, that means this is a mortal world, it says that punyena punya lokam. If we have some virtues, we'll get some punya lokam. Papena papa lokam. If we have done some sin, the papa lokam is there. Ubhabhyam manushya lokam. Jo manushya lokam hai, ubhabhyam means you'll find the 2 things. So thank you so much for presenting your ideas, particularly this visual communications and showing this beautiful thing. And we are very much thankful what the ideas you have given. You are always welcome. What I mentioned, we just offered whatever little bit we offer to the mother. She has created the ground, and you'll see the next year when we'll have the same event on the same day, it will be flooded with many contents. So whatever visual ideas or things you are doing, if you have certain small poems, and for your kind information, after joining here, we have started a special project called Tamil Heritage. Basically, Tamil literature has a strong vibrations, many literatures. When we read the words, the wisdom of Tirukural and the writings of the Naladya Divya Prabandham, 4,000 verses of these Vaishnava lovers. Even if the Natha Sampradayas, they have written thousands of stories. Can you imagine one poet he has written, Paduka Shastram? There was a debate between two poets actually, and there was a challenge to write 1000 verses overnight. So that person, that poet who written that Paduka Shastram, he was a devotee of Lord Vishnu, and overnight he wrote 1000 verses. So it speaks about creativity. And since you served in this Puducherry government's education department, you spoke about this, like the expansion of knowledge, skill development, and personality development things. So, for your kind information, Shri Pradeep Narang Society through different initiatives like the project Rupantar we have, Shurnim Puducherry, they are basically working for the transforming the government schools. Recently, we came across with one institution called Shiksha Lokam. They are doing an excellent service in more than 26 states and UTs. And recently, whatever little we have started, I always believe in the squirrel's role. So, we are most welcome and we are very much. What is your name, sir?
Kavipal.
We are from Puducherry University, Puducherry.
No. I studied in BSc in Acharya.
Something.
My master degree in Sahitya-Towards.
Oh, good, sir. So definitely, whenever we find we'll have a meeting next after this program, we'll explore some possibilities because we have to try out with the governments to bring certain projects. It's not like that portal where the content will come and we'll just upload. It's not like that. It will be a creative expression.
Yeah.
We will have many programs for the kids, many programs for the college students, the academician, teachers training programs. And at the end, I'll tell you what are our future plans for this program. We'll definitely join together to do some collaborative things. Nandri, thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir, for your presentations. And now we have, I'll tell you, when I was with the National Academy of Letters, Ministry of Culture, I was looking after the awards, basically for the 4 years children's literature, and keeping in view of my records, whatever, I was given the task to look after the main award when I left before 1 month actually. And within 365 days, the calculation is in 364 days you have to finish the 24 languages process, 24 into 4, that means 4 levels of committees, 96 committees and more than 950 members. I'll tell you, the languages are Assamese, Bengali, Bodo, Dogri, English, Gujarati, Hindi, Kannada, Kashmiri, Konkani, Maithili, Malayalam, Manipuri, Marathi, Nepali, Odia, Punjabi, Rajasthani, Sanskrit, Santali, Sindhi, Tamil, Telugu, Urdu. So this was the first question.
Alphabetical order.
Yeah. This was the first question when I appeared the interview. This was one of the questions. Do you know what are the languages we work on? I told you it's 24. Can you tell the names? Yes, sir, I can say. So during that time, actually, madam, I came across with many celebrated writers. You talk about this Hindi and English literatures. Yeah, Krishna Kumar ji, most welcome. Please come. Please come. So, like that, many beautiful languages like Hindi and English, we understand the language and the literature is flooded with. But can you refer to one small language called Bodo, which is this Bodo people mainly demanding for the Bodo lands? And yesterday I was talking to Rasmi Narsari, she was a Balsahitya Academy Award in Assamese. She has recently published a book on something on Bodo tales. So we have uploaded that. During that time I came across with more than some thousands of writers in many languages. And it will be astonished to see when they come up with the literatures like Bhupati sir, he came up with some 3 or 4 books, even if Dr. Sundar Murugan will speak now. They have many imaginative things and the way they represent to survive their language, to represent the festive celebration, what is happening in the communities. It will be amazing actually. I'll tell you, in our office we have one colleague, she basically talks with me in Tamil. I speak to her in English, but both of us understand what she is conveying to me, but what I convey to her. So language is not a barrier actually. There should not be any diversity. I speak Tamil, I belong to Tamil land, I speak Sanskrit I speak Bengali it's not that. It's just an expression. So what you have mentioned definitely we will express, we will work on this, particularly enriching the students' creativity. I'll tell you one thing. Once I came across with a small kid of 4 years. That boy was a little bit smiling and all. I told, can we become friends? He told no. I told what? you are so big, your height is so high, so it's not possible to become this. So I told how, and that answer over came spontaneously. So these are children's world is a mysterious things actually. And when we remind our childhoods, I can tell you, when I was basically studying in a rural village. We had a very wonderful bag with us, some slates, some chalks. Nowadays, we are not practicing the alphabets properly, so the handwriting is just like the doctor's prescription, like that. So it is really, even in the ashram school, also madam is part of the education system. Many things can be done, and we hope that being in a private institution or whatever, we have some limitations also, but still we are trying to overcome this. Like Shri Aurobindo Society is also affiliated by the government as a research institute in social sciences. And also we have the affiliation of scientific and industrial research, that is the CIRO, under the Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India. So we are exploring the possibilities, how we can work with the Ministry of Education. Of course, we have a good relationship established with the cultural institutions from the Ministry of Culture and Tourism also, Education and Science and Technology, and with support of the local government also. And we'll try to bring some good projects to do a little bit what are the outcomes comes.
I want to say something here.
Yes.
It's very interesting you're saying this because I was very honored to get the Balasahitya-Towards this year.
What language?
English.
Oh.
So the interesting thing I want to say here is, I have noticed that I talk to a lot of writers who write children's books for children, and we tend to think that it is very important to inform, because and this was a very peculiar sort of discussion I was having with the editor of a publishing house, and she was saying, I said, but why must every book inform? Because a child, if I want to read something, I would want to be entertained also, right? I don't. Information is good, but information that entertains me is better. So she said, "Oh no, you don't understand. You see, children's books are bought by parents." So there is a huge there's a huge problem with the way our writers write for children, because it seems to be that we want to inform them. These are the good things, You should not be color consciousness. You should not have it. You should not have. You should not make differentiations between people on the basis of caste or creed, which are all very good things, very good. But if you are going to take the message itself and say, I am writing the book because I have to give a message, then the child is not going to be entertained, and the parents may force the child to read the book. But that child is not going to retain anything. The best way to do it is to make sure that the book is first interesting enough for the child, and then the message can be, served in a way that is more exciting, something that the child will want to remember and retain.
Yes.
So this is something, because you will be putting up content on your portal. I think it is very important to put the child's needs first.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it information or is it also entertainment?
So when in the first slide which was in the, you see this beautiful photograph of Shri Aurobindo and mother's childhood actually. This beautiful photograph of the childhood of his mother and Shri Aurobindo. Here we had taken this idea, Shri Aurobindo has also written in this thoughts on his education, and read this passage. Every child is a lover of interesting narratives, a hero worshipper and a patriot. Appeal to these qualities in him, and through them let him master without knowing living and human parts of his nation's history, which I will quote. So definitely we will work on it. Maybe our next program will be on an orientation session for the teachers, what are the children's situation, how it will come out. And our next program is coming in November. Every year we do this Balasahitya-Towards, the national program actually. And some 50 or 100 students from different most women from Puducherry region, but it's a unique program actually. We enjoy the 3 days with the kids. So we'll definitely work on all these things. So this is basically a foundation which the mother has established. And thank you so much for your ideas. Now I will request my elder brother, Dr. Sundar Muruganji. He is a known figure in Pondicherry. Being involved with the government sector, he has also his NGO called Away NGO. And what I have observed, like, he doesn't show actually what exactly he is doing. Like, not all these shows photographs, what is happening in the social media things. He works with the children, those who are unreachable, unprivileged children. This is one of the unique contributions. I do not know how he finds time from his government services, from the files, and do all this. So I request my elder brother to speak something on this beautiful occasion.
Good evening to all. With the blessings of Shri Aurobindo and Mother, I would like to let me talk with the depart.
He'll join actually. He's gone for a meeting.
Secretary and respected guests. We are very happy because you have been working half a century for the children. Thank you so much. And the participants and the Tripathi ji, Madam, and a very good speech given by her, all the panelists and participants. Good evening again. Actually, children literature is the magic. That is the title. I would like to talk about that for very few minutes, and I will conclude my speech very shortly and sweetly also. Why I consider this children literature is magic. Tomorrow is a National Independence Day. One Mahatma Gandhi, who led the independence war without any arm in his hands. Previously, he loved literature, especially he witnessed a drama on Harishchandra. That was the only key. He becomes the greatest leader in India. Yes, he told that I watched a drama on Harishchandra in my childhood, in which Harishchandra never talked lie, even though some saint wanted him to talk lie. If he talked lie, that is Harishchandra, he would have been given the whole country and he would have become the king again. But he did not. Similarly, Gandhiji wanted not to talk any lie, and he led the nation and he freed us. Even after 75 years, we have been talking about him because of his noble thing he followed. Similarly, in India, one Maratha king, name was Shivaji. He obtained knowledge from her grandma by way of stories that he should fight for our nation, and he became the greatest king ever, Shivaji. Actually, both, it's the smallest example, both I am telling. One way of witnessing a drama and hearing a story from grandma become two greatest personalities and become the good citizens and made all the people as good citizens. That is what the literature does, right from beginning. Similarly, we have a lot of epics in India, as we discussed earlier, a lot of things, a lot of stories available. What Madam told is that we have to make the children to be interested to study a book or concentrate on a particular thing. If you, not only that, your speech, I was so happy to hear your speech because since you have been in the educational line and as a teacher, you had everything. One Prabhajan was living in Pondicherry, the greatest writer ever in Pondicherry. He got the Sahitya Academy award also 10-15 years ago. How did he get the award is that Previously, Pondicherry, the difference between the whole India and Pondicherry. The whole India before 1947 was ruled by British, except Pondicherry. Pondicherry was ruled by French. During the time of French rule here, one Dubashi, he has written a diary for 13 volumes. He did not, he just wrote it just like that because he wanted to register what is happening in day-to-day life. So he registered just like that. It was later published during 19th century only. The diary, soon after it was, all the volumes were published, Prabhanjan gone through it. And it was the history and it was the events only. What governor, then governor's wife, then, and what are the other people, then that's it. But as you said, as you gone through a history, a British history, and you got something interesting as a story, he got some stories from there, and he wrote a novel, and he got the award, Sahitya Academy Award, the greatest award, because he had the instinct to go through the diary, but he got some stories in it. Similarly, we have to, if you take the Ramayana, Rama, it is a story. Rama is like a negative hero in the whole epic Ramayana, because Rama was supposed to rule the country Ayodhya one particular day, but it was turned as he has to go to forest along with his wife. And 14 years he spent his life there, but during the life he met one Kuga. Kuga was not his caste. Rama was Ayodhya's Kshatriya, and he was the greatest, supposed to be a greatest king after Dasaratha. But he met Kuga in the forest, and he told why, and he was very much happy because of his Kuga's love, and he praised Kuga as you are my fifth brother, fifth son to Dasaratha, like that. Even though he belongs to other caste, that is Vedva caste, that is a lower caste, he made him as a friend, that is brother. Similarly, he went to Kishkinda, where he met Sugriva, and he made him also as a brother. And he went there to Sri Lanka for war against Ravana, and he made him also as one of the, even though he belongs to Araka. So, we have to catch from the whole story that we should not make any difference between any, whether it is Kuga or a monkey or Araka. We have to show love on all the people. We have to take that story from there, and that is what you did, and you taught to the children. Similarly, in Puducherry, Bharati, the greatest Mahakavi Bharati, recently our Shri Aurobindo Society and we celebrated Mahakavi Bharati also. Mahakavi Bharati taught to the children. He sang many songs, especially the song for the children, dedicated to children. Actually, he was the origin for the children literature. Previously, even in Sangam literature in Tamil, in Sangam literature, very few songs were sung for the children. And thereafter, Bharati only straight away from 20th century. Saaliyal illayadi papa, kula taatchi oichu sollal pavam, needi, uyarndamadi, kalvi, anbu niraya udaya melor, என்பது his song. That is, no, that should be for children. He preached, we should not show any discrimination on caste, creed, religion, etc. That was the first song he sang. Similarly, Bharatidasan has sung many lullabies, even for girl lullaby he sang, and boy lullaby differently he sang. In each song, as he told, we take away something, that is information. In Tamil literature, whatever the song, whatever the literature for the people, definitely there will be a moral at the end of the story, end of the song, or end of the lullaby, etc. So he followed through the Bharati, Bharatidasan, and Kavimani was the children poet, and Kavimani and other poets. Now also they are continuing with that. Now every thing written for children literature, finally there will be a moral for them. They have to spontaneously the moral will come at the end of the literature in child literature. That is the speciality of the Tamil literature, because in Tamil there were a lot of songs for numbers. While we were child, there were a lot of songs sung by our teachers, neighbors, children, friends, etc. ஒரு குடம் தண்ணி ஊற்றி ஒரே பூ பூத்தது, 2 குடம் தண்ணி ஊற்றி 2 பூ பூத்தது, 3 குடம் தண்ணி ஊற்றி 3 பூ பூத்தது. These are the songs for preaching the numbers, by heart the numbers, etc. Similarly, other songs are also there. Dosa amma dosa, amma sutta dosa, அரிசி மாவும் கடலை மாவும் உளுந்த மாவும் கலந்து சுட்ட தோசை, அப்பாவுக்கு 4, அம்மாவுக்கு 3, அண்ணனுக்கு 2, பாப்பாவுக்கு 1, சாப்பிடுவோம் அப்படின்றது. These are all the songs which were. But even though there is no moral in that, some learning is to be there for the children. That we have been learning right from our childhood. Now we are facing all the problems as far as children literature is concerned. Even though we are writing, many writers are writing now for the children, but as you said, it is not the target group is not actually it is not reaching to the target, because as you very well said, previously we were living in the joint family system. Now we are living in the nuclear family system. We have only one child. Previously we were 4, 5, something like that. Now we are having only, and even now, as Tripathi ji mentioned rightly, if for us our mother used to feed by showing a moon, nila nila odiva, nillamal odiva, something like that. Now they used to throw the cell phone, and the children now, while the mother is feeding to the children, they are using cell phone now by watching reels, this and that. So automatically they are, since the technology is growing like anything now, especially now, instead of we are going through any books, magazines or newspapers, something that we are not at all doing, we are not encouraging, and the children will never touch also that, because they are fond of using cell phones. And now we are in the technological revolution period, that is artificial intelligence is there now. Artificial intelligence and data science is improving there. There is only artificial, no natural like us. Previously we were having all natural things by our mother, father, grandma, grandpa, etc., uncle, aunt. But now they are having artificial intelligence only, not a natural intelligence. That we have to address first, because in modern world now we are living for material. We have to push our children to study medicine or engineering or a professional, and you have to earn money. If you study, if you get past NEET 20, you will get this much mark and you will become a doctor. As she rightly said, we are not advising our children to go through literature. You go for literature studies and you become a literary personality. No, we are not at all doing. So we have to address these things first. And now the children are monotonous. Right from first 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, they are waking up till down to dusk. They have been running like anything for their studies. It is my observation is that one who does not go through any book apart from textbook, he will never become a good citizen in India or in world also, because we have been watching from the education department, from other sources also, that by 9 or 10 years of that is the children, childs 11, 12, the teenagers used to use liquor and ganja, something like that. It is because they have been concentrating only on textbooks and they are growing as a technological person. If we go through books written by Bharati, Bharatidasan and other personalities, definitely they would become a good citizen and they will save India, not only India, they will save world also, because if, as Bharatidasan sung very well, கெட்ட போரிடும் உலகினை வேரோடு சாய்ப்போம். He sang Bharatidasan sang. Now, if we see, we look the world, that is Ukraine, Russia war is there, war, and other things also there. If a child, I would like to conclude now, if a child goes through books apart from textbook, that is the books which are written by anybody, even epics, the oldest epics, etc. If he is going through such a book, definitely he will become good citizen and he will obtain more knowledge. If he gets more knowledge, that is in a computer, if you have a lot of information input, it will give the best outputs. Similarly, if a child or the children like utilizing this portal, etc., the books, etc., if they are reading or studying the books apart from textbooks, the other book, general books, and they will get much more knowledge. And in future, definitely now, today the child is a child, tomorrow it becomes adult, and after tomorrow it becomes a man, and he has to rule India also. At that time, we can avoid the war, because if we have a lot of information from the literature, how Krishna wanted to avoid war between Pandava and Kauravas. If you go through that literature, he can have an idea. Similarly, we have to make the children to study the literature. Definitely it's a magic, and this is the right time, and this is the need of the hour to start a portal here. And definitely all the rivers which flows far away become very big. It starts a fountain like. So we have a lot of kilometers to run, but first step has been taken. Definitely you will succeed, we will succeed, we'll all together. But this is the panel. We have to call all the children also, and we have to get the advice of the children also, because as Madam rightly said, we have to analyze what is their real interest, and if we upload these things, that will be placed, and their participation will definitely make it succeed. Thank you so much for the wonderful opportunity. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sundar Murugan Bhaiya, for your presentation. I'll tell you, this portal is for the children, by the children, and of the children. So, if you are a children's writer, if you are writing something, we will consider as like a kid. So, because you are addressing the kids actually. Suppose I am writing something for the kids, I have to go back to my whatever consciousness when I was a little kid. I will adjust with those kind of sentences, word formations, the narratives, whatever, so that I can come up with some good ideas. And you mentioned about Mahatma Gandhi's this experiment of truth. He has mentioned what are the literatures influenced him, even if in Shri Aurobindo, when he was at England, he has also mentioned he came across with Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the Indian epics. And also he studied many other literatures. It is not specific to the traditional other things, even if you spoke about this artificial intelligence and how it is creating a different kind of world. And we cannot deny actually what are the modifications and the changes is happening in the contemporary scenario, because that is the need of the time. But I hope that through such initiatives, because there are thousands of portals, millions of YouTube reels and other things are available. But still, we can also add a drop of water on the ocean. Let us see what happens. I'll tell you what is the significance of a drop of water.
All rivers are Ganges.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you what is the significance of a drop of water actually. In Indian tradition, we speak about four purusharthas: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. In this Indian tradition, actually, there was a debate why there are four purusharthas, why nothing is beyond than the four. So there is a debate between the guru and shishya, just like Madam told the ashram school. If you address their issues in a critical way, they will listen to you. Otherwise, they will be in their own imaginative world. So there is a discourse going on between the student and teacher. The student is asking why this is four, why not five? The teacher is asking what expect you the fifth. After moksha, nothing is there. The student is not no. You just give one example. And if you refer to the Vedantic literature, you will find one example there. The teacher says, just like in an ocean, you just put a drop of like meetha pani. If you actually उसमें खरे पानी में आप डालेंगे, and if you tell them just again you remove that separate that one drop of meetha pani जिसको बोलते हैं, it's not possible like that. And when the soul is dissolved or intermingled with the universal soul, it is not possible to go back. So it is intermingled by Yadagatvat Nivartate. Lord Krishna says in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, once you dissolve with the universal soul, there is no rebirth, you are free from the cycle of death and birth. So just like the big ocean has its role, the drop of water has also its unique significance or aspects contribute to make this beautiful ocean. And in the Vedas also, in Rigveda, the Rishi speaks about Maho Arnaha Saraswati Prachetayati Ketana. The Rishi speaks about the advent of the consciousness, like the waves comes and goes like that. Right? It's like the thoughts are coming like that. But in this process, this manifestation of the whatever inner beings are there, that can be born. So you have addressed about these unique things. I'll tell you, even if Sailendra has come from Mathura, Lord Krishna's birthplace. If we will visit to Lord Krishna's temple, on the left side there are small two corridors, small museums actually. One museum is devoted to Lord Krishna's life, and another is Lord Ramachandra's life. Some icons are there like Kaliya Dalan, Kanshabadha stories are there. I went to Mathura in 2010. So my mother was explaining the stories. She knows more than 510,000 stories. She can explain what the Ramayana is actually, what the Srimad Bhagavatam is. And she started little bit explaining what the story is, and some 10-15 people around. They requested, Amaji, please speak in Hindi so that we can listen. So what you mentioned that like Chhatrapati Shivaji, he learns from his mother. But nowadays what is happening, many things are, we have to tackle these problems. I hope through these small efforts, little bit consciousness can add to.
No. What Madam said is that no mother sings lullabies now. Only film songs.
We'll work on it. So the next speaker is our elder sister Gayatri Majumdar Didi. She is basically a writer, a poet, and she writes a lot of things. She has her own poetic world actually, Brown Critics. She also organizes Aurobindo Puducherry, literary forums and many things. And she is part of this Shri Aurobindo Society's Auro publications. All these beautiful publications we saw, most of them from the Auro publications which have linked. So we request you to kindly speak something on this occasion.
Thank you, Kishore, and Charu, of course, and the entire team of AuroBharati, and congratulations on the release of the portal. I'm sure it's going to go far with a lot of input. We have already got a lot of content developing here. So I would like to, I think, become a child, a kid, as you say, and look at things from that perspective. So many of you have covered the topics or something that I had jotted down. We've been spending our entire life, childhood has been spent listening to stories and poems. And then our fathers, mothers, guardians have been narrating every evening. I'm sure some of them still continue to do that in spite of television and other, distracting devices. The stories from Amar Chitrakatha that are very popular. Amar Chitrakatha has an app now. I was just browsing, so it's going, it's going places. And then, of course, we also have the English, because we've also been taught in English things like Alice in Wonderland, and we remember all these childhood stories. And as a Bengali, like Nandini, we remember these what we call choras or rhymes. And then there's one by Tagore, which we really don't know the meaning, but it just is, such an indelible part of our psyche, like something like Amader Chotu Nodi Chole Bake Bake, Boishak Mashe Tar Hatu Jol Thaki. Par hoye jai guru, par hoye gani, dui dhar uchu tar, dhalu tar, padi. So I'm sure most of you remember childhood, rhymes from your childhood. I mean, probably you didn't even read them. Somebody probably narrated or recited them to you, and you kind of remember in your mother tongue, especially, and then other languages. Then we also have someone called Shukumar Ray. If you've heard of him. He is the father of legendary filmmaker Satyajit Ray, and he was a poet and an illustrator, and he wrote these, what they're called nonsense verse or nonsense rhymes, and there's a particular book called Abul Tabul. So basically, there are these images, very surreal images, and little rhymes that go like Ram Guru Re Chana, Haste Tader Mana, Hashir Kotha Bolte Gale, Bole, Hashbo Nana Nana. So it's like a satire, humor, with the illustrations of very strange, animals and humans. So what I'm trying to say here is, it's not necessary that, our childhood is spent only in thinking of what profession we are going to take, or in arithmetic and all that. It can be spent reading something which is just joyful, cherishing those moments in those days of childhood. It doesn't have to be for a purpose that you read some things. And as Nandini said, that some of these poems or rhymes, which we heard as children, also had deeper meanings, which we didn't know at that time. But as we grow, our perspective shifts, and then we get to know the political aspects or other issues that were there in those days, disguised as children's rhymes. So this is part of our collective memory, and this has been transmitted through stories, poems, folk stories, and lullabies, which many of you have spoken about, and they've left an indelible mark in our psyche. And this is also, so what Nandini and some of you all also said, that these poems and lullabies need not just be there to instruct us. They should entertain us. And I also want to go and read a little book that the mother translated from the French called Tales of All Times in 1951. She had translated this book, and she said these stories were written to help children to discover themselves and follow a path of right and beauty. So there's a beauty aspect to it as well. If you allow me, I'll just read a little excerpt from the first story, which is called Self-Control. It's very interesting the way she did this. So in Self-Control, the story goes like this. A wild horse can be tamed, but one can never put a bridle on a tiger. Why is that? Because in the tiger, there is a wicked, cruel, and incorrigible force, so that we cannot expect anything good from him and have to destroy him to prevent him from doing harm. But the wild horse, on the other hand, however unmanageable and skittish he may be to begin with, can be controlled with a little effort and patience. In time, he learns to obey and even to love us, and in the end, he will of his own accord offer his mouth to the bit that is given to him, a little food. In men too, there are rebellious and unmanageable desires and impulses. So she's talking about the inner process. But these things are rarely uncontrollable, like the tiger. They're more often like the wild horse. To be broken in, they need a bridle. To be broken in, they need a bridle. And the best bridle is the one you put on them yourself, the one called self-control. So, this is not really, this is just telling you a story, and then you go ahead and do what you want with the story. You take the takeaway that you get from this kind of story. So, I'm sure these children who heard the stories from the mother would have remembered them all their lives, and as they grew, they would have addressed, these little things in their life to go the right path, to take the right path. I want to also mention about, because you're developing content, you must also think of children. We talk about beauty and love and all that and sweetness, but there are many children all through the world and even now in India who have a traumatic childhood, may have traumatic childhoods for reasons, there could be many reasons, childhood meaning it could be up to teenagers. You see the world around us, with its conflicts, and so it's not all hunky-dory and beautiful all the time. So, especially small children, when they cannot understand the circumstances and why, the world around us, there is this Pulitzer Prize winner poet, Mary Oliver, who said in an interview, "Adults can change their circumstances, children cannot. Children are powerless, and in different situations, they are the victims of every sorrow and mischance and rage around them. For children feel all these things, but without any of the ability that adults have to change them. Whatever can take a child beyond such circumstances, therefore, is an elevation and a blessing." So this is where, stories and an alternative kind of world, the possibilities that are there coming, they get a glimpse into a life which is possible. And so that is why I think, this world where they feel it's filled with light, beauty, and flowers and trees, nature plays a very big role. Mary Oliver would often write about nature and, and even the mother, of course, with the flowers. And so this is one aspect I think we should also take into cognition. And again, children's, the digital thing we often frown upon, and we say, oh my God, they're using these devices. But I think there is no turning back now. I mean, it's here, it's with us. And also during COVID, we observed that it was through these devices that children attended classes. And then suddenly these same devices became the most important thing in education and knowledge and reading. So we cannot dismiss them, and perhaps we may harness, because children of a certain generation now probably know more about these devices and how to use them and where to go than many of us in this room. So we have to use this medium to get across, because it can also bring, for them a lot of images, colors, music. There can be a multimedia kind of a reach for these kids. So it would be, I think, a natural progression, and as Sir said, that we should also involve children, because the tales of all times, the illustrations, if you go over the book, were done by an 11-year-old child from the ashram school that time. So, an 11-year-old child was involved in creation of a book. So I think they can also contribute a lot, with the other Swarnim little kids we have, Sarvam kids and all that. So I think that also I thought would, and of course Sir is also doing via YouTube and all that, so we can. So as I said, I'll keep it short, but I just was really stunned and really happy to stumble upon a poem by Sri Aurobindo called A Child's Imagination, which is so important, that's where they can express themselves, and also, of course, the literature, as most of you said, help children with the vocabulary and enhancing their language capabilities and other so many aspects. So this child imagination, which I'm reading here, was written around 1900 to 1909 during the Baroda and Bengal period from Ahana and other poems, and it goes like this. A child's imagination. O thou golden image, miniature of bliss, speaking sweetly, speaking meekly, every word deserves a kiss. Strange, remote, and splendid, childhood's fancy pure, thrills to thoughts we cannot fathom, quick felicities obscure. When the eyes grow solemn, laughter fades away, nature of our mighty childhood recollects the Titan play. Woodlands touched by sunlight, where the elves abode, giant meetings, Titan greetings, fancies of a youthful god. These are coming on thee, in thy secret thought. God remembers in thy bosom all the wonders that he wrought. That's it. Thank you so much again. Thanks to everyone. Also, Pratibha, who's not present here. All the best for the. Thank you.
Thank you, Gayatri Didi, for your presentation and addressing some of the critical issues, especially war, because what happens actually through our stories or writings, we always try to teach the kids. I'll tell you what I'll say after my 1 minute, whatever I have to say. We have Sister Patty. She has written more than hundreds of stories. We have also added one story here. This is yes, Sam in the classroom. Oh, I think Sister Patty will be the best person to tell about this story. And you have rightly mentioned that the sensitivity or what the child aspires, we should address that. Nowadays, everyone trying to inspire everyone, but the person to whom we are trying to inspire to tell something, that person might inspire us actually.
Yeah, so we have a lot to learn from children
Exactly.
as well. It's not just like a
1 week.
Yeah, 1 week. Take this.
Yes, we will definitely include this whatever modern technology, these multimedia visual experiences. As I mentioned in the beginning, it should be an experience. It's kind of an engaging experience. Whatever with, and for the kids also, like throughout the year, do a little bit activities with the kids, and about Balasahitya programs. That is a special program for the children. And definitely we will have some programs to listen from the kids and to do other things, and we will implement all these ideas what you have mentioned. So Sister Patty, you want to tell something about this beautiful story, Syam in the Classroom, a story by Patty, and her original name is Patricia Louise Frick. Yes.
Well, what I remember of this only is that I had a vision of what would happen if Shri Krishna himself came to a modern classroom. And how he would teach, what he would say to the children, and how they would respond. So all I remember is that the children were stunned to see him come to the door, as we envisage him and the way he was dressed and all that. And they just stuttered, who are you? So what I wanted to say only is that what Mother, as I understand it, wants is beautiful stories from beginning to end. Now this is a challenge that she has put to us, because she said it is much more difficult to write a beautiful story than something that is full of catastrophe or ends in catastrophe. Because actually our stories are our life. What we can imagine is what we are going to live. As far as our thought can go, that is what we will gather around ourselves, in terms of people, in terms of actions, in terms of feelings. So why not look to the Mother in Shri Aurobindo and ask for that inspiration? Because Mother said inspiration is not pure in itself. You can be inspired to do a murder. So you must ask for an inspiration to come from above, for something higher, to raise all of humanity higher. If that was the goal of all entertainment and writing everything, then humanity would go forward by leaps and bounds. It's an invitation given by the mother on the day before Shri's birth for the country, for the whole world. Because India must lead the world in every way. Thank you.
So that is something really beautiful. I'm so glad you pointed it out, because I noticed that a lot of children, particularly teenagers, and older teenagers and stuff, they consume so much of dark content, conflict-ridden content on social media, on OTT platforms, films, television, everything. The content is very, very conflict heavy. So when you ask them to imagine, they will necessarily have dark content. But dark content is also, it sort of pulls you down, right? How will you have an environment of light and beauty if the only content, literary content, that is being bombarded to us is invariably dark?
To remind them that they have a soul. Close your eyes and look inside your heart and see what you feel. If every child is invited to do that, you're going to have transformation. I believe it. You can't do that and not be changed. Because there's a reservoir that is waiting inside, and it's infinite. You can't come to an end of it. No. It's the divine's gift to us. Or you can look in Mother's eyes and ask her. So she's out there, she's in here, same thing.
Thank you, Sister Patty, for your beautiful presentations. You have been since more than 40 years in this place,
Yes.
and you have miraculous experiences, whatever you have experienced. So, the way you have presented, something came out from your heart, actually. And Sister Patty has written more than 200 stories.
And I don't know, but I will say this, that anybody who wants to have a better life, whatever they have done, whatever they think, whatever condition they are in, if they turn to the Mother sincerely and say, Mother, here I am, I give myself to you, she will give you the best possible life. It doesn't mean there won't be difficulties, challenges, no, we need those to grow, but the best possible life, and nobody can ask for anything better than that. No? That is their gift to us.
You rightly pointed, like Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Mamekam Saranam Vraja, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, Mamekam Saranam Vraja. Just leave everything and surrender to me, I am there.
Yes, yes.
And he is saying also, why you are searching for me? I am already with you. And thou art that the concept. So it's a beautiful thing. So we have a very wonderful discussion, and we have also Charu, she's my wife. She looks after all these projects, activities, research and documentation things. I'll tell you one thing. If you will access this statistics of the world children's literature, actually, what is happening around the world, because we talk about Lord Rama, Lord Krishna, but what is happening rest of the world, actually. In 2022, the statistics was around the world there are 184 millions of children's books was published and sold, actually. Can you imagine? 184 millions of books. So you can say there are many. It's just like a individual consciousness that's trying to contribute to the universal consciousness, something like that. In such a world where that new ideas and new realities, like when we studied, we have not seen computer when I was studying in the schools. And like if you aspire to have some mango and some fruits from the tree, we'll climb the tree and bring it. It's very difficult, yes. And sometimes like we use that camel to break some to bring some fruits, actually. Yes. I don't know how difficult. It's not like in one shot you will get that fruit, actually. You have to try for 10, 15, 20 times. And finally you will succeed also. Yes. So in our childhood, we have not seen all these digital things, what is happening. And I am fortunate, my mother was telling the stories in the evening, some 2-3 stories, and the best story what she does, every evening, even if now also, because she's 73 years old, paralyzed, but every day she devotes some 1 or 2 hours to study some scriptures. She would recite and then she would explain what the story is. And the beautiful thing, if in the contemporary time we would give the Ramayana to a kid, you please read some moral beliefs and ethics are there. But the child will ask us, oh my God, the Lord Rama's life is so horrible. He'll go to the jungle, he'll fight so much. What I will do with this reading these stories? You take the examples of Mahabharata, oh my God, so many people killed, there's a Kurukshetra. How can this happen actually? So, what Sister Patty mentioned about to find some beautiful, some pure consciousness things which comes within that is needed. So, we had a wonderful discussion, and Madhusudhan Bhaiya from the Ashram school, he was unable to attend because due to some classes he committed, but he sent a message it's not possible for him to join. So, we may make a little bit discussions or any ideas if anyone want, then we'll.
I would like to add one thing I feel to add, because while I was in my childhood, I used to go through the mantra books like one where Pratapan was there. He had during that time itself, he had some mat which flies. He can sit on it and he can go anywhere. Magic, yes. During those days, while I was going through such books, I was happy to have such a carpet, flying carpet. Not only that, the Veera Pratapan was a hero and there was a villain, that is anti-hero. But anti-hero was powerful during that time itself. That villain cannot be killed by any hero because he does not have his soul or life within him. He used to put his life, that is soul, after 7 oceans, after 7 hills, after 7 big trees. And there is a small tree in which a bird was there, and in that bird, if that bird is killed only, he can be killed. In such a way, I do not know that bird would be killed by a hunter. What will happen to him, I do not know. The story did not tell like that. But such stories which gives imagination to us. If I had that carpet, I thought during that days itself, because I had some relationship with relatives in Kanchipuram. If I had that carpet, flying carpet, I can go to Kanchipuram and I can share to my friends. We can go something. That imagination will come automatically. That imagination only will lead the child to take conclusions during their terrible problems, facing issues, etc. Just I wanted to tell you. Then I would like to add one more thing is that, as my man said, we have to Sharan mother, then everything. You said the Lord Krishna. Draupadi, the Pandava's wife. Finally, she did not have any opportunity to save her. She prayed the only source Krishna, and he automatically came out there and blessed with the biggest desire, something like that. The another thing is also there. You know about Prahlada. Prahlada did not pray his own father. He got the biggest boon that he will never be killed by anybody else. He cannot be killed in a day, or he cannot be killed in a night time. He cannot be killed inside the house or outside the house. Something like that he got the boon from Shiva like that. But he never bothered about his father. He did not, his father wanted Prahlada to pray him. But instead he prayed Rama, Perumal, Narasimha. So he saved him. Similarly, if we surrender 100% with the true conscience, then we will be saved, telecast by Mother or by Krishna or something. But we have to surrender ourselves. Thank you.
You see, you spoke about Ramayana. Basically, Ramayana is a collection of some verses which you call about slokas. But Ramayana is basically the soka of Valmiki. Soka means the tears. There is a sloka which says, Soka Shlokatam Agata. That means his tear was converted into slokas because Valmiki, when he saw that there are two birds, Kroncha, Pakshi, two birds, and one hunter, he hunted one of the birds actually. So what he saw actually through his emotions, one bird died actually. So the Soka Shlokattam Agata means, so emotions we have to see the. Finish it.
Yeah,
Yes, okay. So any.
This is 550.
Yes, any.
I think Panchatantra is a very good example.
Yes.
We have missed it out, but yeah, Panchatantra is something that is very, very educating.
Yes.
And probably you could also include some Panchatantra stories.
Definitely, we'll add on it to this.
Yes, definitely to add 3 to the portal.
So I hope it was a beautiful beginning today on this special day because 14th August is basically in Shri Aurobindo's what he mentioned. And although the number was less, but we tried to address what exactly we are trying to do. So the portal is basically a start point. We will continue, we'll add on some content to make it in progress mode. You see, everyone we talk about the reading culture actually. The next program actually which we have planned, this November, Gayatri is building a reading culture, creative expressions and then digital development. This year's theme for this Balsahitya, this event, we are mainly focusing on how to develop the reading culture among the students. And like the kids, throughout the year, whatever programs we have done, you can find a glimpses from here on different topics throughout the year, whatever programs we have done. Sometimes of the knowledge creation, sometimes music and art, sometimes some creative expressions. This Heritage Festival, more than 3,000 students participated in the last 2 years. And to take it forward, it will not be a platform to introduce some contents to make it an online access things, but it will be a creative and engaging experience for the children's writers, even for the kids also. And we are planning for an international conference, particularly enriching the children's literature, which will announce soon. And two of the another events we will announce some creative writing. It will not be a competition actually. Creative writing expressions for the kids, for the students, any topic they can choose. So all these contents we will make available with good contents, quality contents, and we are happy that Bhupati Periyar Swami Bhaiya, then Sundar Murugan Bhaiya, they have shown their interest to put their whatever literatures they have given. Will continue.